You've heard that slaves built the pyramids through brutal forced labor, struggling to drag massive stones across burning desert sand. This common belief is completely false, and the real method used to construct history's most iconic monuments remained hidden until recently. A bombshell discovery has revealed that the Egyptians engineered a branch of the Nile to flow directly to the pyramid site, transforming what seemed impossible into a brilliant feat of human problem-solving. The truth about pyramid construction isn't about alien technology or endless human suffering. It's about how ancient Egyptians changed the landscape itself to achieve what seemed impossible. Picture this, a structure so massive, it remained the tallest human-made building on Earth for over 4,000 years. The Great Pyramid of Giza, standing proud at 146 meters high. Now comes the mind-boggling part. It was built without cranes, without pulleys, without even proper metal tools. How is that even possible? Let's talk numbers for a moment. The Great Pyramid weighs approximately 6 million tons. That's 12 times heavier than our modern engineering marvel, the Burj Khalifa. And yet it was constructed during a time when the most advanced technology was essentially copper chisels and stone hammers. The ancient Egyptians somehow managed to quarry, transport, and stack stones weighing between 2.5 to 80 tons each, with gaps between them so precise you can't even slide a credit card through many of the joints. Some blocks are positioned with an accuracy of just 0.1 millimeters. Think about that. We're talking about massive stones, positioned with greater precision than many modern buildings, all without laser levels or power tools. When most of us think about the construction of pyramids, we probably picture what Hollywood has shown us for decades. Thousands of slaves, being whipped under the scorching sun, dragging massive stones across endless deserts. It's a powerful image that's become firmly lodged in our collective imagination. But here's the thing, it's completely wrong. Archaeological evidence tells a very different story about who actually built these magnificent structures. Excavations near the Giza Plateau have uncovered entire worker villages that paint a surprising picture of life during pyramid construction. Rather than the remains of malnourished slaves, archaeologists found bones of well-fed workers who received medical care. Many had healed fractures and evidence of professional medical treatment, hardly the treatment you'd expect for disposable slave labor. The worker villages discovered near the pyramids reveal sophisticated living quarters with bakeries, capable of producing thousands of loaves daily, breweries for beer, and evidence of a diet rich in protein from cattle, sheep, and goats. Analysis of worker remains shows they ate better than most Egyptians of the time, consuming large quantities of meat that would have been considered luxury food. These workers weren't forced labor, but skilled craftsmen and seasonal workers who considered it an honor to participate in building their pharaoh's eternal home. They were organized into specialized teams: quarrymen, stonecutters, transporters, and setters, each with specific skills passed down through generations. Hieroglyphic evidence reveals these teams even had playful names like the Drunkards of Menkaure or Friends of Khufu, suggesting a sense of camaraderie and pride in their work. These workers received not just food and housing, but also exemption from taxes, a significant benefit in ancient Egyptian society. Most fascinating is the timing of construction. Pyramid building wasn't a year-round activity. Many workers were farmers, who would join the construction during the Nile's annual flood, season when agricultural work was impossible. During this period, lasting roughly 3 months each year, farmers would work on the National Pyramid Project, receiving food and other benefits from the state while their fields were underwater. So who really built the pyramids? It wasn't aliens. It wasn't slaves. It was skilled Egyptian laborers and farmers working during agricultural off-seasons, united in service to their pharaoh. The pyramids were essentially a national infrastructure project that provided employment and redistributed wealth during times when farming wasn't possible. These skilled workers who built the pyramids faced a mind-boggling engineering challenge. Think about this. The Great Pyramid contains 2.3 million stone blocks. To complete it within 20 years, workers needed to quarry, transport, and place one massive block every 3 minutes. And we're not talking about small stones you can carry in your hands. Some of these behemoths came from quarries located 800 kilometers away. How on earth did they manage this without trucks, cranes, or even basic wheels? For centuries, historians proposed elaborate ramp systems to explain how the ancient Egyptians transported these massive stones. But these theories had serious flaws. The ramps would need to be impossibly long. We're talking kilometers, and would require more building material than the pyramids themselves. It simply didn't make sense. The breakthrough came when researchers discovered something fascinating. An ancient Egyptian painting showing workers pouring water in front of a sledge that was dragging a colossal statue. At first glance, this might seem counterintuitive. Why would you pour water on sand when trying to move something heavy? Wouldn't that just create mud and make everything harder? Actually, the opposite happens. In 2014, physicists decided to test this method scientifically. They discovered that adding just the right amount of water, between 2% and 5%, to desert sand reduces friction by up to 50%. The water creates tiny bridges between sand grains, making them stick together instead of piling up in front of the sledge. With this simple trick, the effort needed to pull heavy objects is cut in half. But that's not all. The ancient Egyptians were masters at working with what they had. Their ingenuity extended to how they cut these massive stones in the first place. Without modern power tools, they used copper implements and dolerite hammers, materials far softer than what we'd use today. Their technique was brilliant. They would insert wooden wedges into natural cracks in the rock, then soak these wedges with water. As the wood expanded, it would create enough pressure to split the stone along its natural fault lines. Simple physics, remarkable results. Even more revolutionary was the discovery of the Ahramat Branch, a long-buried tributary of the Nile that once flowed directly to the pyramid construction sites. This waterway would have allowed workers to float these massive stones right to where they needed them, solving what seemed like an impossible transportation problem. The Egyptians didn't fight against nature, they worked with it. Another mystery has been the mortar used between the stones. Scientists have analyzed its unique composition, but haven't been able to fully replicate it. Despite understanding its chemistry, this special mortar helped create structures so precisely built that you can't fit a credit card between the blocks, contributing to their incredible stability over millennia. And let's talk about the pyramid shape itself. It wasn't chosen randomly for aesthetic reasons. The ancient Egyptians designed it with mathematical precision to distribute weight effectively. This ingenious design made the structures incredibly resistant to earthquakes, explaining why they've survived for thousands of years while many newer buildings have crumbled. So here we are, friends. After exploring the marvel of the pyramids, what we've discovered isn't evidence of alien intervention or brutal slavery, but something far more remarkable: human innovation at its finest. These structures stand as testament to what we can achieve when we work together with purpose and ingenuity. As researcher Eman Ghonim noted, the pyramids demonstrate the intimate connection between geography, climate, environment, and human behavior. Our ancestors didn't need advanced technology to create wonders. They understood their environment deeply and worked with it rather than against it. What seemed impossible becomes logical when we see how they combined simple physics, clever engineering, and social organization. The next time you see these ancient structures, remember they're not just monuments of stone, but monuments to human potential, reminding us that greatness doesn't require modern technology, just creativity, cooperation, and determination. Perhaps that's the true legacy of the pyramids: inspiration across millennia.